Hello, I would like you to draw with me. What you need to do is go and get a pen or a pencil, any kind at all, it doesn't matter. It can be any kind of cheap biro, I don't care, and something to draw on. Likewise, that can be an envelope or a receipt or piece of newspaper, doesn't have to be good paper, anything at all. And also I need you to get an object. Once again, don't waste any time thinking about what it is. It can be a cup or a plug or a plant or anything at all. Don't waste any time wondering about whether it's good. Just get something to draw. I have chosen an object completely at random. I have chosen this, this award that I got for being the hardest working musician in 2016. So just something at random. You might not have an award, but just choose something at random. Go and get those 3 things and pause the video and come back. Welcome back. So you'll have your pen and a piece of paper, and you'll have something to draw. Like I say, I have an award. Maybe you chose an award as well. And I want to talk to you about drawing, and I want to encourage you to draw, and I want to tell you what drawing does for me. Usually when I'm talking to someone who doesn't usually draw, often the reaction from people who don't draw is, oh, I can't draw. Oh, I'm not very good at drawing. I've never been very good at drawing. And I want us to push all of that aside. I don't want us to think about words like good or bad, or to judge what we're doing on whether it looks like the thing in front of us, or anything like that at all. I want it to just be about the process itself and what the process can do for you. I am going to start drawing. I'm going to start looking at this award that I got in 2016 for being the hardest working musician. And I am going to try and find the most dominant shape that I can find in it, the most apparent shape that I can see. And the most apparent shape I can see is this square in the middle. I'm drawing in pen. I like to draw in pen because there's no undo. I can't erase it. It makes me commit to what I'm doing. And like anything else, drawing and art, much like music, it's a bluff. If I draw these lines with enough commitment, and if I believe it looks this way, then the viewer believes that it looks that way. There's no such thing as a mistake if you have drawing ink. Sometimes you might have a picture that you just don't want to show anyone, but you will get better quickly if you work in an environment that doesn't have levels of undo. So commit to your decisions, and use a pen or use a pencil. Don't use a rubber. Don't use anything like that. Just go for it and just draw more often, fail more often, and then eventually succeed more often. So I'm looking at this shape. And what I'm also trying to do is I'm trying to believe in what I see. I'm trying to have faith in my eyes and that my hand can follow it. And now I'm looking for a second shape, which I would say is this square on top. Now, something a tutor at art college once said to me, and it isn't something I always cling to, or sorry, not cling to. It isn't something I always practice, but it's something I try and bear in mind, is that your picture should always be finished. So by that, I mean that if you had been drawing for 2 minutes, then after 2 minutes, your picture should look something like a finished 2-minute picture. So my picture now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shapes, and it has the shape of the robot. After 2 minutes, what I haven't got is a drawing of, my award. I forgot to mention, my award is, which I chose at random, my award for being the hardest working musician is shaped like a robot. So after 2 minutes, it looks roughly like a 2-minute drawing. After an hour or 3 hours, it would look like a 3-hour drawing of a robot. But at any point, should you stop me, the idea is that it looks finished. The idea is that after 2 minutes, you don't have just the head, or the idea after an hour, you don't have a perfectly detailed head with his little headphones and stuff. So I always like that, the idea that at any point I should stop. Also, I think what I'm doing here, and what I'm always encouraging myself to do, is to see the shapes. And as I said a little earlier, to trust what I'm seeing as the shapes. So when I'm drawing these headphones, I'm trying, that the robot has got on his head, I'm trying to see them as a collection of shapes and not trust my memory of what headphones should look like or what this robot should look like. I'm trying to push aside those things that I know and only use what I see as shapes and intersections. When I was doing my PGCE to become a teacher, which I never really did, but I did the training, there was a lecturer there who I really liked. His name was Dennis Atkinson. And he wrote a couple of books. And he's very interested in the development of drawing in children from the youngest age. So he looks at things that children do, even from the first time they're pulling their hand backwards and forwards, or starting to do circles. And then often what they do is they do circles and then they start doing stabbing motions inside. And then he does hypothesize that this might be the start of a face, but what we all do with young children is we try and encourage them, and we try and show them how to draw things that look like things. So we teach them something that's a face. We do this and we say, there you go, little Jesus. If I had a kid, I was always going to call him Jesus. There you go, little Jesus. There's a face. And so they learn that as a face. And you know that to be a face. But it doesn't look like a face. It's merely the sign we've learnt for a face. Likewise, we have a sign for sun. And we have a sign for house. And that starts to be how we encourage children to draw. We don't really teach them to draw as such, but what we do is we teach them a set of symbols that they can form a language, and that's what this is. It's a language. Interestingly, this language isn't the same in all cultures. For instance, Aboriginal people draw humans from a plan view. So they draw people like this. So this here is a person, with a head there, and that's their arms. So the symbol in their drawing for a person becomes this shape, which looks not much like a person, but really this also doesn't look like a person. So when we're drawing, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to forget what I think about what a face is or what a hand is, as in a blob with these 5 extensions. I'm trying to break it down to a section of shapes. So for instance, when I'm looking at this robot now, I have an idea of what his robot arm looks like. I have an idea of what it looks like because I've seen it from multiple angles, and also I have my previous knowledge of what arms look like and how they connect to bodies. But I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to look at the shape and look at lines and where they intersect. And I'm trying to forget what's there and only what my eyes are translating. When a couple of years ago, I went through a very bad spot and I was having therapy. And during the therapy, once again, I know that this is an arm on this side, but from my angle, I can't see an arm. All I can see is this bit here and this bit which protrudes out, just a shape. And so I'm trusting that's what happens. And then during these therapy sessions, I asked my therapist, could you teach me some stress relieving or anxiety reducing exercises? And she said, yes, I can. And so she taught me a couple, and they were all relatively similar. She told me to choose an object in the room, and I remember one of them was a pen. And she said, concentrate on the pen. Trace your eyes around the shape of the pen, the lid, where it connects to the main body, where this bit which you would clip on to your lapel goes. She just follows it round. And of course, as soon as she started teaching me this technique, I recognized it as exactly the thing that I do when I'm drawing. Although at that point, I wasn't drawing nearly as much. I was much more preoccupied with making music. So what I'm trying to say is that what we're doing when we're drawing, when we're looking, is really similar to, acknowledged stress relieving activities. And I can even tell, despite the fact that I'm slightly anxious because I'm making a video for you, but even then, I can tell that my voice is slowing down, and I actually can tell I've got a bit calmer just through the process of doing that just then. I'm just going to put some of the writing on here. AIM, independent. Music awards. The writing on here is because this thing here I've chosen to draw at random. It's an award. It's an award I got in 2016 for being the hardest working musician in. I'm not sure if it was the world or England. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not important to what we're doing now. I don't like having letters on. In drawings, I feel like I have to be more accurate than I am. I've used a lighter pen now to try and do the reflections, the other side of it. I'm going to add a little bit of colour, but you don't have to. There is a contradiction, a little bit, in what I was saying as well about semiotics and symbols, because even though I'm saying that to draw what you see, there's always a lie you're telling. So for instance, I can't really see lines here. What I actually see is the difference in colour and light between the edge of this and that behind. But my drawing and my painting's always been quite influenced, I think, by comic book art and the comics I grew up. And so I'm still doing something that's not quite the painting of light, but also not quite diagrammatic in that sense, but it's a little diagrammatic. So, for instance, now I'm mixing up a blue to suggest the glass of this award here that I got in 2016 for being the hardest working musician in the world for that just that year. And I can't really see blue. I'm telling a bit of a fib now. I am, in fact, doing some of those things I was telling you earlier, and so I'm illustrating a contradiction. That some shorthand, some diagrammatic shorthand for what we know and expect to see is something that I do in my pictures. But remember, with your drawing, there is no such thing as right and wrong. There's no such thing as good or bad. I actually generally I'm trying to make those words vanish from my vocabulary completely, actually, as I get older. When I talk about records, other people's records or my records, I try and talk about things I like or what's successful about it. I don't know if they're helpful, the words good and bad. I'm going to get this purple here for the headphones on the award that I got in 2016 for being the hardest working musician in the universe. I'm going to put a beige, brown, orangey thing because this table here is that colour, but also I'm going to use a small bit of colour theory. If you imagine colour as a colour wheel, then you find the complementary by, say, you've got yellow, red and blue, the three primaries in a triangle. So then you think about what's opposite. So the opposite to yellow is between blue and red, so it's a purple. So the opposite of red is between blue and yellow, so it's a green. So this blue that I have here, I sort of know that as long as I keep it the same sort of tonality, a nice sort of yellowy ochre will sort of highlight that blue quite nicely. So I am nearly finished, and I would love it if you did something either whilst you were watching this, or if you did something, you know, another time, bearing in mind a few things I've said. If you could show me a picture you did. I don't think it's an innate ability to draw. I don't think it's something you're born with. I think it's completely teachable. But yeah, mainly two things as I wanted to share to you. Firstly, that if you do anything like this with conviction, then it will work. And the second is that it's really good for your noggin. It's really good for your mental health. So I hope that was fun or of some use for you. Here is my drawing of my award that I got, which I just chose it at random. Like, you can draw anything, but this is my award I got in 2016. Thank you very much.